said, I've owned the car for 10 months. I'm going to try and shoot this in a one take, so don't pull me up too much when I get the details wrong. But yeah, the M4 competition package. So mid 2016, the M4 had a refresh, right? There was a lot of criticisms about the sound of the exhaust, the sort of the sort of over-engineered or over-facilitated driver assistance. There wasn't much fun, much feedback, and the exhaust did get an absolute battering by the enthusiasts, paired doubly with the fact that they rebranded what was traditionally classed as an M3 as the M4, the M3 getting relegated to the four-door sedan or the four-door car. So, you know, it took a bit of a hammering. So like I say, halfway through 2016, they refreshed the M4. They brought out the competition package, which was about a $5,000 or £5,000 upgrade on the stock M4. We'll call it stock. And I think it's a real sound investment. Like, I can't even imagine why you'd buy the stock. You know, so the M4 has got the S55 engine, which is the dual monoscroll turbos, and so let's talk about the first big difference between the stock and this, and let's just get back into auto. So the stock has this has 444 brake horsepower, so that's 19 horsepower over the stock M4, and 409 pounds-feet of torque. Now, that's probably not going to feel like a hell of a lot different in a 0 to 60 drag, but in terms of like some of the other things that you'll feel in terms of the driving experience, there is noticeable, in my opinion, noticeable differences and tweaks there to the stock engine. So 1 second. Because the camera fell down. So 0 to 60 is under 4 seconds. The slight boost in horsepower is probably going to shave 0.1 second off that. I've seen stats around 3.6, 3.8, which I think is super optimistic, right under 4 or 4 seconds. But you know, it's a sub 4 second car. I would say that mine has a little sneaky component to it, that it's got a DNAN Stage 2 ECU piggyback tune. That was done by BMW, so you know, again, you can probably say a JB4, which is another popular piggyback, is probably a more cost-effective option for the same sort of response, but it certainly unlocks a few more brake horses. And again, I've seen dyno runs that chalk it up to, you know, 500 plus just by putting that piggyback on it. And we'll get back to the sort of pros and cons of that as we go through the video. Let's talk about, got a little few notes here. So let's talk about a few of the other things, right? So this also has the Dct Gearbox, and that you know, I know there's a lot of praise out there, and there's also some criticisms, but I've driven a lot of auto gearboxes, especially some of those 8 speeds that you see in a lot of the other cars, and they're coming back into vogue actually. But the DCT is just an exceptional additional extra, and I went into this looking for a manual, and went test drove a manual, and that was a fantastic experience. You're very connected at that stage with the driving experience, but then I test drove DCT, and you know, I was up and down the gearbox on that, and as I will do when I'm not concentrating on blurbing out, it is a fantastic piece of kit. What else is different with the competition package? Well, you've got the adaptive suspension. So they've slightly tweaked and upgraded. I think there's like 15% stiffer springs in this, and they've also updated and upgraded the software and the electric differential. So handling is just super, it's been completely changed, completely upgraded. Again, some people comment on the handling on the stock M4 was a little bit hard, or you know, just not really responsive, or what you'd expect when you're hitting corners at speed. I can tell you right now, there's a huge upgrade in the handling, and that comes down to those tweaks to the suspension. So there's that. Then you could look at the exterior. So again, on the competition package, you'll see the black line exterior, so black window trims. There's splashes of black across of it. Notably, the M4 badge on the back of the competition package is black. That's the quickest indication that it's an upgraded competition package. But of course, now since I released that black badge, a lot of people have gone out and outsourced it and installed it aftermarket on their stock M4. So exterior features. This particular one that I have, I upgraded it with all of the BMW installed carbon package. So carbon front splitter. It's got the rear carbon spoiler. and there's various other splashes of carbon across the car, including the interior, so there's a nicer amount of carbon fibre that really gives it that sort of edgy, dynamic look. So that aside, you've also got black tailpipes which indicate the exhaust, and that probably brings us to what I think is the best, and you've probably guessed it, the best upgrade on the M4. So I was actually put off buying the original M4 because I felt the exhaust sort of sounded like someone blowing air through a paper bag. It was a real, you know, and it wasn't really that nice exhaust note that you're sort of used to in these cars. So, like I said, the competition package came back out. It's got a really nice burble pops on the overrun. It's got a much deeper note. I've got a bit of speed here, and it's a delightful sound.